Hello everyone, my name's Rick, and just behind the camera at a social distance is Megan, and we're from a little charity in Nottingham called Ignite. And what we do is we try to get more creativity into schools and into local communities here in Nottingham, especially around science. Now we're here today in my garden because we want to talk to you, we want to set you the challenge for 28 days in August. It's part of the City Council's Carbon Neutral 28, and we're going to talk to you about a challenge we'd like you to do, and that's all to do with leaves. Can you collect 28 leaves? Now, we'll talk to you a little bit about leaves because it's also good for the planet, it's good for the environment, and it's also part of the kind of biodiversity that we want to encourage. What are leaves for? What do leaves do? Why do plants have leaves, and why are they so different? So let's just think about this. Humans and animals eat food, but plants are different because they make food, and it's the leaves that make the food for the plants. Now, what do the leaves make the food out of? Well, the simple answer is they use sunlight. You can see the sun coming down onto this plant here. They use water, and they use carbon dioxide. And the green stuff in the leaves is called chlorophyll, and that all starts to make a chemical reaction called photosynthesis, which is what makes the food for the plant. Now, what we would like you to do is not only collect 28 leaves, but 28 different leaves. And leaves are very, very different depending on where the plant came from. So some leaves, like this broom, are very, very small. And you'd think, well, how can these leaves make enough food for the plant? But the fact is, there's lots and lots of them. Now we're going to see in a minute another leaf which is very, very big. But this one, well, now this is a herb called rosemary. And you can see that the leaves are all kind of narrow and spiky. And that's because this is a plant that was originally from a rocky and dry place, part of the world, where it was a lot warmer. And the plant doesn't want to lose the water that it gets from the ground. Because when the plant collects carbon dioxide, it also sometimes loses water vapor back into the atmosphere. And that's not good for some plants if it's very dry. The other great thing about photosynthesis and the making of food that leaves do for plants is that it gives oxygen back into the atmosphere. So plants are really good for the atmosphere, for the climate, for biodiversity, and of course for making us feel good. Now, I talked about lots of different kinds of plants and lots of different leaves. These are sharp, small and narrow. These are broader. And this cosmos plant, well, the leaves are really intricate. They look like ferns. Over here, the leaves are like swords. And that's because the plant wants to grow up from the undergrowth and get up into the atmosphere and get as much sunlight as it can. Let's have a look at some more leaves while we're going round. These leaves are nice. You can use them in cooking. It's mint. And so the food that the mint produces has a particular flavour. It's really nice for you putting on your potatoes. Some leaves are different colours. Some leaves are waxy and shiny. And that's also because the plant is trying to save water. Some leaves stay on the plant the whole year round. They're called evergreens. And here again, they're trying not to lose water. So this is a cypress tree that comes from, again, from a very dry climate. But look over here, Megan. Just look at the size of this rhubarb leaf. Now, rhubarbs originally were in you can see they're quite low down. And so they have to try to collect as much sunlight as they can. It's a bit like a solar panel. And so they grow really big in order to get as much sunlight as they can. This is nasturtium, and we love nasturtium because they repel the water. They're almost like waterproof coverings. Some leaves, like this euphorbia, are really quite pretty in themselves. Okay, so you've already seen there are lots of leaves in my garden, so the challenge for you is, can you find 28 different leaves? And if you do, why don't you look them up in a book or online and see what kinds of plants they come from and why they are different. Make a collage, stick them in a scrapbook, make a photograph, and then share them with all the rest of the world on social media, because we've tried to show you how important leaves are for our well-being, for the planet, and for the environment. So that's your challenge. 28 days, 28 leaves.